All right, hey, it's Rob in the middle of doing laundry, and I thought I would jump in here and talk about the latest developments in the Morrissey Marr situation that's been going on for quite a while. Of course, both of those people, former members of the band The Smiths. And if you did not grow up in the era that I did in the 80s, there was no band, at least in my opinion, that was more beloved, that was just, firing on all cylinders. Every single time they put out a record, it was just great. I really related to those records and used to walk around with my little Walkman headphones with the little foam pads on campus. And just for whatever reason, the Smiths really spoke to me. I might have been a little depressed or, maybe I was a little introverted, whatever it was. But man, that band just really did it for me. Of course, not to mention Johnny Marr's amazing guitar playing and all the layered riffs and chords and things, the way he played. Just fantastic stuff. So anyway, they had this incredibly productive partnership, Morrissey and Marr, dating back to when Morrissey heard him playing through a window or whatever, went down, knocked on the door to see who it was, and they, would visit each other's flats or whatever and just knock out 4 songs in a day, and they were always amazing. So yeah, the Smiths, who were very short-lived, 83 to 87, 88, something like that, not very long. And one of those things where, of course, they're constantly trying to get these people back together. I saw them in concert probably around 86 or something. Was glad I got to, but of course, times have changed. And there are now only 3 living members. The bass player Andy Rourke died a couple of years ago. Morrissey is a problematic figure. He has some right-wing leanings, which do not agree with Johnny Marr and a lot of other people. And it's pretty much like a coin toss if you get a ticket to a Morrissey concert, whether he's going to show up or cancel or whatever. So anyway, they don't have the same relationship they did back then. If you go to see Johnny Marr in concert, though, it's excellent, and he sings a lot of the Smiths songs. And no, he doesn't sound like Morrissey or is not a technically great singer, but he just does it with a lot of energy and verve. When I saw Johnny Marr play, he pogoed up and down on stage for, 30 seconds during one of the songs because he's like a vegan and he's a super healthy guy. It was very cool. Anyway, so the update for today, 3 minutes into this video, statement from Johnny Marr's management talking about the trademarking of the Smiths name. Now, this is been a problematic thing that's gone on for many years with different bands. I know there was a band called themselves the Zombies who toured in the United States. And back then, when there was no internet or whatever, the real zombies in England probably had no idea. And this band was touring, saying they were the Zombies. I don't know if they had any connection to the band at all. Certainly not any of the members were shared. And I think that Guess Who, this happened to them as well. It's one of those things where these people do it and they figure they'll get away with it for a little while and then, they'll get caught and whatever. So, been a problem since the beginning of rock and roll. Today we have all these band reunions, but they're partial band reunions, and some bands have a couple different versions, like the band Bow Wow Wow, who I just saw a few months ago. Annabella is the singer, and she's got a new band playing. And then there's another version of Bow Wow Wow where Annabella is not the singer, but it's the original bass player, and he's got a different singer. It's always, man, it is always just, part of the drama of rock and roll, where these people just try to, keep the money flowing in at, any expense or whatever. But, to be offered a Smiths reunion, which could be, multi-millions of dollars. They said $50 million. And to be in the position like Johnny Marr, where you're just like, I don't care. I'm sure Johnny Marr is doing fine. I don't know that he has $50 million, but he doesn't care, of course, and it's not worth any amount of money for him to do it. I know they asked ABBA to reunite, and they offered them $1 billion, and they all said, forget it. You get to a point where it's just like, you're just not going to be able to deliver, and, at least they are, aware of that fact, and they don't want to disappoint the fans and tarnish their legacy. Anyway, So in 2018, it said somebody tried to use the Smiths trademark, a third party, not Morrissey, not Marr, and they realized that the Smiths, which of course is a pretty generic name, the trademark wasn't owned by the band, and who knows who owned it or what happened, in the 40 years almost since the band stopped releasing original records. Anyway, it says Marr reached out to Morrissey to work to protect the Smiths name, and Morrissey didn't respond. So for whatever reason, Marr had to go trademark the name himself, he said. And then they agreed that the trademark was held by Morrissey and Marr. Now, I believe the way it worked in the Smiths was Morrissey and Marr got I don't even know what it was, 70% of the money from the Smiths, and they split the last 15 among Mike Joyce, the drummer, and Andy Rourke, the bass player. And I mean, this was like a tight unit, but they really treated those guys like side players. And obviously a band cannot continue on like that when, some of the people in the band are making a ton of money from it and some are being paid very little. And that's kind of what happened. Matter of fact, they sued. I think Andy Rourke settled. Mike Joyce didn't and took them to court. I don't remember how it all worked out, but they got a lump sum payment or whatever happened. And unfortunately, when money gets in the way in these rock and roll situations, it becomes very difficult. I know REM, I think, did a 25% split across the board. No matter what you did or who you were, the drummer got the same as Michael Stipe or whatever. And that, helps these bands to, carry on for years and years because people feel like they're treated fairly. Anyway, so Johnny Marr said that Morrissey and Marr, have them. It said the trademark is held for the mutual benefit of both of them. And then Marr signed an assignment, it said, in the beginning of this year of joint ownership to Morrissey, and sent it to Morrissey, and it's still sitting on his desk. He has continued to ignore it. I don't know. If you're a person like me who, struggles to, find work and to continue, working in the career of their choice or whatever, to have these options and just be like, whatever, I don't know, man. Just can't relate. But anyway, so Marr has said that Morrissey and Marr own the Smiths, but Morrissey doesn't seem to care one way or the other to sign the document. I guess he will at some point. So the other part of this press release from Johnny Marr's management today says they were offered to tour as the Smiths and offered a lot of money. And they had this offer to tour, and the rumor was that it was ignored by Johnny Marr. He didn't even respond or whatever. Now, I guess this was after Andy Rourke died. And again, they were looked at as sidemen. Maybe they were looked at as sidemen by Morrissey and Marr. I kind of doubt it, but they certainly were paid as sidemen. And for me, it's the Smiths, or, it's just a cover band with a couple of the original guys or whatever. I guess you'd have 3 out of 4 if they toured again. And yeah, I would enjoy and love to see the Smiths, even though it'd be a different bass player or whatever. For most casual listeners, they could care less, of course. It wouldn't matter who was playing bass. But what I would really want to see, of course, is all the original members, which is no longer possible. Anyway, so according to Johnny Marr, he didn't ignore the offer. He said no. So he turned it down, was not interested, wasn't ignoring it. He responded. He said, no, thank you. So he is not interested in a Smiths reunion. There's a rumor going around that he wanted to do a version of the Smiths with a different singer. One person out there is Rick Astley, who did this, great cover of There's a Light that never goes out or whatever. Glastonbury or something or other, although with so many people singing in the audience, you couldn't even tell really what Rick Astley sounded like singing that song. But I'd probably go see any kind of version that existed. So if it was Rick Astley singing the Smiths and Johnny Marr and Mike Joyce or whatever, well, I don't know. I'd probably go one way or the other. But anyway, again, Johnny Marr confirming no. That is not in the works. He's not looking for another singer. He's not looking to go tour as the Smiths. And that he declined a suggestion for another greatest hits record because there have been many of those over the years. If you know the Smiths catalog, they have a song called Paint a Vulgar Picture where Morrissey sings reissue, repackage, reevaluate the songs. And they have really done that to the nth degree with the Smiths catalog. Are there other things out there we haven't heard? Possibly, but for the most part, we've had greatest hits and compilations and B-side compilations, and they started coming out. There was one called Louder Than Bombs, and then an European imported one was around with different B-sides and things called The World Won't Listen. Of course, I had to buy all these things when they came out back in the day, but yeah, so there's really not much of a need for another Smith's greatest hits. They have done it, a couple times now. They've remastered, they've reissued, they repackaged, all that good stuff. Anyway, so to sum up today and what the developments are, well, it looks like Johnny Marr protected the name of the Smiths. He's willing to share it with Morrissey. Morrissey has not bothered to sign the papers, but obviously, he's going to at some point. If he wants any cut of it. And again, Marr and Morrissey do very well on their own anyway. They probably don't need the money regardless, but you want to look after your intellectual property or someone else will grab it. So, and then, the rumor that he didn't respond to the reunion request, not true. He says he did. He said he's not going to do it. Doesn't want a greatest hits package and doesn't want to sing, doesn't want to play with a different singer other than Morrissey. Definitely doesn't want to play with Morrissey. So he's fine just touring and doing his stuff on his own. He releases lots of solo music, which is pretty good. And again, he's excellent in concert. If you get a chance to see Johnny Marr, he sings 4 or 5 of the Smiths songs anyway. He does a very good job. Obviously, he's the guy that played that, on them, and has a great band. They play with a lot of energy. It's a lot of fun. I would be happy to go see him again, even though I saw him a few years back. And as far as Morrissey goes, like I said, I've just never been much of a fan of his solo stuff. I loved him in the Smiths, but I really didn't follow along after with his career. I know a lot of people do love him and love his solo stuff, and to me, it's just been fine. Kind of derivative of the Smiths, but not the same. All right, that's what we got for today. Signing off. Later.